Wrestling fans, Saturday night, May the 8th, MWF Studios gets extreme as ECW legend New Jack joins us for the very first time, taping episodes of Wrestling Insiders along with taking part in a live cyber autograph signing open to fans around the world. For more information on joining the three-time ECW Tag Team Champion for must-see TV, visit BostonWrestling.com and our social media platforms.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marty.
And I'm Mr. USA WWE Hall of Famer Tony Atlas.
The road to WrestleMania has begun. Wrestling fans are looking to add to their man caves. You got to see what we have in the eBay store.
Check it out.
Support Wrestling Insiders in-studio shoot interviews on eBay with this brand new personally autographed WWE Royal Rumble 2021 11x14 poster signed by WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns, his advocate Paul Heyman, and Kevin Owens. Reigns and Owens battled for the Universal title in a last standing match January 31st in the Thunderdome in Tampa. This limited edition collector's poster is number 31 of only 50 produced. Comes with WWE authentication hologram on the poster itself. Also comes with an on-air shout-out from WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas and a bonus autographed 8x10 photo. Get this rare, awesome collectible for your man cave and help keep wrestling legends working now.
Cheer! Why, hello! I would ask what was on your mind, but I already know. You want to know what has got my beard looking oh so majestic. And I'll tell you, it's sexy as hell beard care. Coconut oil, vitamin E oil, almond oil, both sweet and bitter, shea butter, it's all natural. Yes, JTG has actually come out with a high quality product. So support your boy by going to sahbeardcare.com and take one step closer to becoming sexy as hell. Cheer. Ooh, cheer. You know?
Boston Wrestling Sports and the MWF explodes into a new year of unknown with professional wrestling content galore, and we need you to join our family. Every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. after we review the previous night's Monday Night Raw, it's Wrestling Insiders at your house with the unpredictable WWE Hall of Famer, Mr. USA Tony Atlas. Wednesday nights after WWE, NXT, and AEW at 10 p.m., you never know who's going to show up on Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. after our NXT and Dynamite review, it's Marty Jannetty's No Holds Barred Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll journey through the 80s and 90s on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Friday nights after the lights go down at the Thunderdome on SmackDown, it's John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays. Plus, look for classic clips, bonus live episodes, pay-per-view watch-alongs, and more. If you want early, ad-free access to all of our Wrestling Insider talk shows, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, and to help keep wrestling legends working during the worst of times, for less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, join our growing family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Expect the unexpected in 2021.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
Its regular time slot where we discuss all of the WWE talent releases this week. If you missed this past week's Wrestling Insiders brand new Party with Marty Thursday night at 10 and John Cena Sr.'s Fabulous Fridays after SmackDown last night, have no fear, they are available in the YouTube archives. As We were production machines at Wrestle House in Tampa. We presented you a series of supersized marathons where a lot of new fans checked us out for the first time, and veteran fans of Boston wrestling sports caught up on some older episodes. Things were up in the air in certain regards before we even left for Florida, with everything happening with Tony. And I have about as many answers for that now as I did then. I was lucky enough to return to some new interns here at the studio who are searching high and low in the video archives, as there is some original Tony content pre-coronavirus, I believe, that has not been used yet. If you missed the news, I actually saw Tony in person in Tampa when we dropped Demolition Smash off at his hotel last Thursday. It was, I have to say, disappointing, but I wouldn't exactly call it negative. For the time being, we might go with some classic Tony episodes on Tuesday nights for you to enjoy, while we see if there is any way we can repair the relationship or continue the search for a new co-host on Tuesday night. After all the great guests with us in Tampa, there is certainly no shortage of options. Also, beginning this coming week, we have another program schedule change, starting with this coming week's Raw review on Tuesday. Our Raw, NXT, AEW, and SmackDown review programs will all start at 7 p.m., so they all start at the same time. Makes no sense to premiere these shows in the middle of other companies' first-run wrestling programs. We'll then promote them during that night's original 10 p.m. talk show to replay at 11. Along with everything else we're doing, we're also working on 2 new programs for your wrestling enjoyment, one based on the future superstars of professional wrestling, the other podcast style with an old friend. Don't forget, we'll be back with Impact Wrestling's live pay-per-view watch-along as Impact Wrestling champion Rich Swann goes one-on-one with AEW Kenny Omega Sunday, April the 25th. Then we kick off the first Sunday in May, reliving ECW's first pay-per-view ever, Barely Legal, from April 1997. Perfectly fitting, as even though this man was unable to join us at Wrestle House, ECW legend New Jack will be with us live in studio Saturday, May the 8th, taping episodes of Wrestling Insiders, along with the Cyber Autograph episode and a live show to go along with it. Our travels to Tampa really hurt the YouTube numbers so far this month, so please, folks, if you could, hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe to the YouTube channel for free. If you click the little notification bell, it updates you on our premieres. Share our links across Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, Facebook wrestling groups, wrestling websites. Let's get new eyeballs on all of our hard work. As noted, the nightlife is hurting due to Corona, but the Boston Wrestling eBay store is open 24/7. You can check out the link to our eBay store in the description box below. And don't be a fan. Don't be a friend. Join the Boston Wrestling MWF family over on Patreon, where you get the early ad-free access to Wrestling Insiders, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library that has been seen by millions online and millions around the world on The Howard Stern Show, Patreon exclusive videos and news, perks, plus the knowledge that you, yes you, are helping keep wrestling legends working over at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. With that said, here's the man that almost blew the roof off of Madison Square Garden at WrestleMania 10, Men on a Mission's Oscar. All right, wrestling fans, here he is, the man on a mission himself, Oscar. What is the name of this fine program again, for those that may have forgotten?
Monday Night Mission with Oscar and Marty.
Monday Night Mission with Oscar and Marty. Here we go, folks. We just had a late night, almost 2-hour endeavor on Saturday night where we reviewed WrestleMania 37. It is in the archives if you missed it. But tonight, Oscar, as we're almost live, we're cutting it so close with your travels today. You wanted to discuss some of the WWE releases that took place. That's almost a tradition in the company, usually a couple of weeks after WrestleMania. But this year, it almost felt like a couple of hours after WrestleMania concluded. I know you were in such a so eager to speak about this. You're joining us from Las Vegas, virtually off of getting off the airplane.
Yep, I'm just got in the airplane. I just got off the airplane, comfortably in my suite. But I will tell y'all this: fortune smiles on the pretty. I stopped by the crap table, and this is no lie. Stopped by. and paid for my whole trip.
Really?
Yep.
6 figures.
No, it wasn't 6 figures. It didn't have to
All right,
be.
maybe
but
5.
It's quite enough. I'll put it like that.
Well,
you're looking at a happy camper.
You're in a good mood.
Yep.
Well, from what I understand, you're out there to meet with some investors about a gentleman's club for Dr. David Reese that they wanted to name Reese's Pieces. Is that true?
I am out here to relax.
What
and
about?
Not think about.
You're not thinking about Reese's Pieces.
I'm not thinking about Reese's Pieces. Dan's fair deal, Dan.
No one.
Nothing the hell else y'all got going on.
There's no pieces here, but David Reese is a man that's got more than the candy company himself, from what I understand, out in Vegas and San Diego and many other hot spots through not only the country, through the world.
Yeah, that's the man.
Reese's Pieces. All right, well, Oscar, let's talk about the topic at hand. Many releases coming from with WWE. One that took place before WrestleMania that just, I have to say, Oscar, as someone that enjoys professional wrestling, as someone that has worked in professional wrestling, as someone that is a WWE stockholder, literally disgusted me, was Andrade departing the company. A man that wanted out. He had asked out. WWE let him out. For them not to be able to come to some sort of understanding when you have a guy that has the potential to be a main event talent for years to come. I believe he's only 31 years old. He's been involved in a long-term relationship with Charlotte Flair for some time. How do you let this relationship fall apart, Oscar? I don't understand.
Well, he wanted one thing he wanted to go, but I'm like you. He was definitely an up-and-comer. So, to me, you don't let those slide that easy. And so, I mean, I don't know. There's a whole bunch of people that's still there, didn't get released, probably should have got released, but didn't.
Well, I mean, the list that was released, it varied from top to bottom, to say the least. We're going to review them from A to Z, as the Iron Sheik likes to say. But, Oscar, in your opinion, was Andrade a guy you could maybe turn into a top-tier heel in the company like I do? Or maybe do you think he was best cast in the mid-card?
Yeah, but see, the thing with that is, he was a top. It's a gray area because, yeah, he's a top heel. But in order to be a top heel, you have to have somebody that heel can work consistently, make a good storyline, and something that the people want to see and pay to go see. And I'm not so broken up by Andrade's release in that respect.
Well, I think if you look back at the 2020 coronavirus year when WWE was taped largely in a warehouse for quite some time, and then at the Thunderdome, I think the feud, the little four-way Hispanic feud that went on between Andrade, Rey Mysterio, Angel Garza, another one that's lost in the shuffle right now, as well as Humberto Carrillo, who is pretty much on milk cartons. Where am I? I'm missing. I thought that was one of the better four-way programs of 2020, and I thought it was thrown away. You could make the argument that, Andrade's English maybe isn't as succinct as yours. Maybe he needed Zelina Vega with him, and Zelina left the company. But to just let the man go and walk off to virtually any promotion in the world when he could be main eventing for you at a time when the talent roster in WWE is so thin, I think it's a disgrace. I have to be honest, Oscar. I usually don't speak in terms like that when it comes to WWE, where they are so good to us, but big error here. And I think, honestly, when it comes to the checkbook, I think it's going to hurt Andrade too, because I don't know if any other company will offer him the money that WWE could offer, but I guess that sometimes happiness is more important than the check.
Well, my other concern, and I hate to say this, but it's often true, with him not getting that WWE check, and unless he come up with a major prospect, does him and Charlotte Flair stay together?
You think that might be a relationship of convenience?
Well, I don't know if it's a relationship of convenience, but it's a really good look for her to be with, a top guy or a main eventer or at least a stellar up-and-comer.
Mm-hmm.
But a guy who's now jobless, if their relationship is made of true love, they can withstand the test of time. If it was made of anything else, he's going to be out the door.
If it's one of those relationships like you'd find at an establishment like Reese's Pieces.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, let's hope not, because like I said, I personally don't know Andrade. There could be these horrible stories about the man that have occurred that I don't know. All I'm going by is his talent, and I think he's $1 million and $1 talent. I would have done everything possible to try and keep him, to try and find common grounds, to have him with the company for years to come.
Now, if you're correct, and I'm not saying you're not, I mean, he's a great worker. I mean, you might see him as you'll see in many talent. AEW is scooping up the pieces where WWE is, slipping or letting talent walk out the door. So, I mean, I would not be surprised if he shows up there in the weeks to come.
Well, I think AEW has been scooping up more pieces than David Reese, but that's a different story for a different time. But
David Reese, and if he can get a solid AEW contract, Charlotte Flair ain't going nowhere.
Look at. I'll say this: if you look at the WrestleMania show, look at the average age of some of the top guys that were on that show. I mean, you had a lot of guys pushing 40, if not well past 40 on there. WWE isn't exactly young and spry at this point when it comes to the roster, which again is another reason why I don't understand why a 31-year-old just entering his peak is gone.
Well, I mean, when you say that there's 40-year-olds and whatnot in the WWE WrestleMania show, that's that they had to. I mean, you have to do that. I mean, WrestleMania is made up of the most recognizable faces that are in the company. You're not going to have no WrestleMania if you try to get even as good as they can work, as good as they are, if they don't have no name recognition in wrestling yet. They look good, but people don't know them, and they're not people that people are going to pay to see. Then that's going to jeopardize WrestleMania, which costs hundreds of thousands of dollars to put on number one, and they rely on that as the backbone of their income going into fiscal whatever. So you have to have some. You have to have some of the older cats and some of the names in WrestleMania. I don't care what you do.
I don't disagree with that at all, but at some point you got to make some new superstars for the future, and that's what they're failing to do right now, in my opinion.
Well, but again, you got to make those stars before you gamble on them like that. I mean, like that.
Well, disappointment is running rampant. A lot of wrestling fans disappointed by many others on this list, Oscar. What about former TNA World Champion Samoa Joe? Not only a very credible athlete in the ring, but someone that I thought was outstanding on commentary at a time when the commentary sucks a lot of the time.
That was the most shocking release in my eyes of the whole thing. Samoa Joe still had miles on him to be an in-ring performer, and not only was he not bad as a color commentator and an analyst, he was excellent. So why he was let go when he was able to wear either one or both of those hats, that was the most shocking release of the whole thing to me.
Well, I know he's had concussion issues in the past. I know he's a little bit older than me. He's in his early 40s. But like you said, I mean, that doesn't exactly make one a dinosaur in 2021. Whether it be in the ring, whether it be at the commentary booth, he is a man that had a lot to contribute to our great sport, I think.
Yeah, but another one that don't be surprised. You'll expect that will go to the AEW locker room because he's got many, many miles left on his soul. And if he's not going to go be at WWE, he's best going to be used somewhere else.
And he owns
AEW is hiring.
And he owns his own name, which helps.
Hey, that makes it even better.
Right. Well, I'll say this. Well, I'll ask you, in your role as the VP here in Boston Wrestling MWF, would you welcome Samoa Joe and Andrade if the deal was right?
Oh, I would definitely welcome it. But like you said, the deal was right.
The deal was right, exactly.
Don't come in here asking for something I ain't got. I ain't turning my ass out to give you. Okay, you're gonna have to be reasonable and you let the character bill bring us in some money, and then we can talk negotiation. But yeah, come in. Let's see what you can do for us. I give you a shot. You can prove it. You paid your dues. Why not?
All right. What about former WWE Women's Tag Team Champions that were split up for no reason? They announced it before a commercial break on Raw to show how much thought they put into it, and then they went off to Never Never Land. One appeared on WrestleMania, the other did not. Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, the Iconics.
I'm not surprised about that at all. I never saw what they contributed to the show ever since I started watching them. I never got it. So the fact that they got released, I'm not shocked at all. I mean, I'll put it like this. They got released 1 year later than they should have got released.
You think they should have gone last year?
They should have been going a long time ago.
Well, you know what? I don't know either one of these ladies personally. They could be lovely human beings, but as far as their contributions to a professional wrestling program go, there was absolutely none. I never understood the characters. It almost seemed like they were trying to play roles of character actors at an amusement park.
I mean,
terrible.
It's like, I mean, how many pretty faces can you have? I mean, they were just there. I mean, there was nothing special about them. See, this is what I talk about, and I hate to bore you to death with it. In a seminar, I talk about character. You got to be somebody. You have to create something memorable or something the fans want to see. Yesterday, I watched a very good program on A&E. Did you watch the Stone Cold Steve Austin biography yesterday?
Unfortunately, I was here until about 10, Oscar. I missed it.
I mean, it was excellent about how he started out and his rise to be Stone Cold Steve Austin, but he showed that in order for him to even stay at the company, to not be fired by Vince or looked at as a joke, he had to create a character. He had to create something that fans could be like, oh, wow, look at this guy. And he practically did it on his own. And that's why he's one of the most famous wrestlers ever in the world. But it didn't happen overnight.
No.
It didn't happen by the second of a thought. It had to be developed. He had to pay his dues. He had to, really put some thought in it. And his wife was the one that came up with the name Stone Cold. He admitted. And then from there on, look at him now.
Off to the moon, baby.
Stone Cold's going to make money in wrestling the rest of his life.
I don't think the same will be said for the Iconics.
No. They're iconically gone.
They're iconically gone. Peyton Royce is in. I'm not sure if she's married to or in a relationship with Sean Spears, the former Ty Dillinger of WWE, now of AEW. But, you know, we wish them well. We hope they find employment. The one thing that the women have going for them, where there is such a lack of women wrestlers in general right now, for those that have had a platform on national television to work, I think most of them will do all right when it comes to finding a landing spot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't doubt it. I mean, you know, right now, they were in the company long enough and got a following and have enough TV cred to where they can make a lot of money, you know, the way a lot of us do, you know, signings, conventions. And, hey, AEW or somebody else might even pick them up because they have that, you know, they got that fresh off TV stamp on them right now to see what it is they can do. So they'll be all right.
Do you think it makes a company like AEW or Ring of Honor or Impact look a little bit desperate if they're willing to sign anyone and everyone that's fresh off of WWE TV, almost appearing as if they're signing WWE rejects, so to speak?
Well, if they just signing them to be signing them, yeah. But if they sign them with a plan, then no. If they sign them with a plan, that makes them smart business people.
I think that's the problem TNA ran into about 10 years ago. They were willing to sign just about anyone that ever had that WWE, new car smell on them, so to speak. And the same could have been said for WCW during the Monday Night Wars. Anyone that left WWF, they would gobble them up in some cases to ridiculous amounts of money.
Well, they would gobble them up. They wouldn't gobble them up with a plan. They wouldn't gobble them up. They would gobble them up for one reason and one reason only. Just to shove it in Vince's face.
Yeah,
that's how petty that situation was.
And it didn't work out too good for him in the end, did it?
No. In the end, let me tell you something about life. The house always wins, and the house, when it comes down to wrestling, has been proven for the past 100 years has been Vince McMahon. He's not going to lose.
Well, let's continue on down the list, Oscar. I know, like I said, we're cutting it close to almost being live tonight. What about former WWE Women's Champion Mickie James? Someone a little long in the tooth, a couple of years older than me, but, injury-prone, perhaps you could say, during this run, but an athletic woman when she was healthy.
It's not a bad thing because, Mickie James has had multiple runs. So it won't be surprising if before it's all over for Mickie James that she has another run, another one that AEW might even scoop up because even though she's up in age, she's had multiple runs, and when she gets in the ring, she still has chops. She still has in-ring talent. She still can be a leader in the locker room. She has a lot of experience, and I've never heard nothing bad, nothing bad about her. So, I'm saying that to say that I have no doubt that if anybody of this whole roster of let-goes is going to land on their feet and be okay, it's going to be Mickie James.
Really? Out of everybody on that list, you think Mickie James is going to wind out the best, huh?
Mickie James is going to be all right. Because look at it. Mickie James has been released. Mickie James came back. Mickie James been released. Mickie James came back. You're gonna see Mickie James is always good. She's like the Friday the 13th Jason of the whole thing. She's going to be okay. She's gonna wind up on her feet.
All right, fair enough. She's also married to the NWA World Champion Nick Aldis. Maybe Billy Corgan of Smashing Pumpkins, who we know through the Cauliflower Alley Club reunions out in Las Vegas. Maybe he'll open up the purse strings.
Well, that would not be a bad thing. Smashing Pumpkins Smashing Pumpkins, you bring me back because Smashing Pumpkins made one of the record on my playlist, one of my greatest songs. The beginning is the end is the beginning. I love that song by Smashing Pumpkins. So anything they got to do with, I call Smashing Pumpkins for a job just because of that.
Well, I know David Reese has done some smashing, but we're not talking about Pumpkins. Another release that came from the female division in WWE was Chelsea Green, probably best known from her time in NXT. She did have a match on SmackDown in a Survivor Series qualifying match this past November, and she injured her arm. I don't know if she broke it, but there was a serious arm injury. She was cleared to come back and compete. And the creative idea they came up with her was best in your future endeavors.
Well, sad to say, guess what? I don't even know who the hell that is.
Right,
so I have no opinion about it one way or the other.
She is the significant other of Zack Ryder, if that makes a difference to you. If that rings a bell.
No, she was what with Zack Ryder?
His significant other. His partner.
Oh, that's significant. Well, okay. Well, you see where his career went. So what does that say?
Well, maybe
Zack Ryder. Wait, no. Let me say this. Zack Ryder didn't have a career when he had a career.
There's a guy that was so over that they did nothing with it. It amazes me. It just shows that, you know what, they push who they want to push, when they want to push them, how they want to push them. But, I mean, Ryder wasn't too far off of Cena's popularity level at its peak, and they did nothing with the man.
He wasn't doing nothing when he was doing something.
Exactly.
Now, if that's not sad, I can't tell you what is.
Well, at least Ryder has the potential now to call his own shots. He's done some work in Impact Wrestling. He's done some work in AEW. He has a great podcast that's become very popular across the internet. So it looks like Zack Ryder, as time goes on, is going to do well for himself. Fans, as we hit the halfway point through this list right now, we want to take a brief time out, hear from some of our great friends. We'll be back with Oscar as, what is it called again, brother? You say it much better than I do.
Monday Night Mission with Oscar and Marty.
Monday Night Mission with Oscar and Marty. We'll be back after this brief timeout.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marty.
And I'm John Cena Sr.
Johnny, the momentum here in Boston Wrestling continues as we continue to build and build and build. The fans want to know, how do we help? We subscribe to the Patreon, but we see all the great merchandise on that set. Coronavirus may have killed the nightlife, especially for someone like Marty, but our acclaimed eBay store is open 24/7 around the world.
Wow. Check it out.
Arguably the greatest professional wrestler of all time. Get this limited edition collector's autograph print, personally signed by two-time WWE Hall of Famer Nature Boy Ric Flair, inscribed 16 times for each of his recognized World Championship reigns. One of only 50 made direct from our friends at WWE. Also signed by original artist Rob Schamberger. Help keep wrestling legends working. Get this awesome Ric Flair collectible for your wrestling collection now. All right, Oscar, welcome back to the Monday Night Mission with Oscar and Marty. I'm feeling the name, baby. I'm finally starting to remember it as I get over my hangover leading into WrestleMania and the even more grueling experience that it was down in Tampa, but we still have many more releases to go through as WWE was swinging
Before we continue,
let
me tell you a side note that you will find really, really interesting.
You've already ran into one of Reese's Pieces.
No, I didn't run into Reese's Pieces. I ran into something worse.
Worse?
I'm at the Rio Hotel in Vegas, which is directly across the street from the Gold Coast.
The Palms.
Our favorite point for Cauliflower Alley, right?
Yes.
It is 2:43 Pacific time in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
No restaurant here is open.
In the casino?
In the casino.
What about the food court?
No.
Nothing.
Those restaurants are closed. They say that a couple of them will open later, but you cannot get a bite. I've been here 3 hours and ain't had a bite to eat yet.
That's awful. I think maybe you made the mistake and you should have booked a fine suite at the Gold Coast Casino across the street.
I should have did something.
At least the buffet might be open.
No, the buffet is not.
At the Gold Coast?
I don't know if that present food bonanza is probably open, beckoning me to come over there. But yeah, it's incredible. The restaurants are all closed right now.
Now, how does the Strip look to you? Does it look like it's business as usual or no?
Well, it's early on a Monday, so it's not mega crowded. The casino was bustling and busy, but no food.
What do you want to do if you want a lunch? I mean, I don't know the answer.
I got to get through this show and figure that out. I don't know.
All right. Well, we won't keep you too much longer then, Oscar. I know you're a man.
No. I'm all right. But I'm just saying. I thought you might find that. You guys might find that interesting.
I'm actually very, very surprised. I would think if there was one city where you'd have accessible food and such, Vegas might be the place. I know when I've been to Orlando now a couple of times since the virus hit, and I have not seen, other than those that went out of business permanently, I haven't seen places with restricted hours during the day.
Yeah, no, they got restricted hours. They say,
I think maybe
make a reservation.
Maybe as one of the revered members of the Cauliflower Alley Club, maybe you should make your way across the street.
Yeah, but where the hell am I?
Maybe the Fridays might be open.
Yeah, I would imagine it probably is.
The Port of Sea buffet they have. I think that's what it's called, isn't it? The Portishead buffet?
Yeah, the Portishead. That's it.
Well, you know what? Maybe you should go over with Mimi and treat yourself. $7.99. Treat yourself.
The Portishead, she don't even get here till midnight.
Oh, you guys weren't even on the same flight?
No, I was in L.A. Shooting a documentary for Netflix the last 2 days.
About
She's coming
what?
out tonight. She's coming out tonight.
What were you shooting a documentary on?
There's a political action magazine that's got me working for them, and they having a documentary about the stuff that we're doing.
Oh, was Dr. Reese involved with this?
No, Dr. Reese wasn't involved with this.
He was busy with his pieces.
Yeah, and Reese got his whole program going on.
All right. Well, speaking about pieces that were easily forgotten about, let's take a look at what else WWE did to try and trim the fat a little bit last week. A man that I noted when he split up with Otis as part of the Heavy Machinery tag team that he should be saving his paychecks. Boy, did that come to fruition awfully quick. Tucker has been future endeavored by WWE, a man that has done nothing since he turned on Otis. They didn't even have a grudge match to blow the feud off when he turned on Otis.
You know what? Let me tell you why I'm not surprised by that. I'm never surprised by that scenario because when I split with Men on a Mission, Mo and Mabel, you know, they jumped me and beat the hell out of me, but they never brought me back to get revenge on that situation. It just happened, and I went off into the sunset. So anytime that happens, you know, I can relate to my own story. And I'm never surprised when it's done like that. So, yeah, Tucker, I feel your pain, bro.
Well, Gerald Briscoe mentioned in an interview we did with him that I believe he recruited both Otis and Tucker to WWE. So it just feels like Tucker really never had much of a shot. The Heavy Machinery was kind of a fun mid-card tag team. Then Vince McMahon kind of had a mental orgasm over Otis. He gave him Mandy Rose as his valet, and, you know, Otis was in about 4 or 5 segments a week each week on TV, and it was too much Otis to the point that nobody cared about Otis, much like they've done with Eugene and other Zach Gowen-type characters over the years. But Otis remains as a heel, now tagging with Chad Gable in a team that lacks chemistry. And I think Otis and Tucker had a lot of chemistry. So I think it's kind of a waste that Tucker was just tossed like garbage, in my opinion.
Yeah, Heavy Machinery was a really promising big man tag team that could have inflicted a lot of damage and went a long way. But, you know, a lot of times we don't get used right or to our full potential. And then it falls by the wayside, and that's what happens. You spin Otis off into his own thing, and, you know, I never expected it to work. I mean, it looked silly to me, you know, just to be honest. And you know, expect Otis to be getting his "We wish we will" letter, you know, in the months to come.
You think Otis will be next?
I'm not saying next, but it's coming.
Sooner than later.
Oh, yeah.
Really? All right. Well, you know, he does like to say,
yeah, okay. Well, give me that.
That's what his interviews sound like to me. Oh, Taka. That's about all that I know of Otis.
Give me that unemployment, you idiot.
Otis may need to be flying into Vegas to visit Reese's Pieces, but a man that I was surprised went, a man that I think would be great for kids, a guy that was a great athlete inside the squared circle, a guy that was given somewhat of a push. If you recall, several years back, Alberto Del Rio defeated John Cena to win the United States Championship, and the man that unseated Del Rio had the head chopped off, Kalisto.
Now, that's kind of a shock because, well, I don't know. First of all, do you have too many luchadors? Let me start there, in your opinion.
Is 4 too many if you include the Lucha House Party and Rey Mysterio? I don't think that, you know, it is, especially in a day when the Hispanic market is so valuable. Why get rid of them? I think they should be trying to end them.
Well, I mean, the writing's on the wall with that. I mean, I believe they feel like they got too many, and who you choose as the sacrificial lambs. That part about it, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you came up with the formula of Kalisto, because I thought Kalisto was. There's not a luchador in the mix that I can say don't have talent or pull their weight. But Kalisto was, he's like Rey Mysterio Jr. or Rey Mysterio brother.
I think maybe
talented.
If you look at their process of elimination, you know it wasn't going to be Rey Mysterio that was going to be ousted, and the Lucha House Party, if nothing else, was a tag team. Maybe that's why they looked at Kalisto as the expendable one. But I thought he was one of the better of the four.
That's what I'm trying to say. I don't know how they came up with the formula of who they was going to let go, because Kalisto was definitely. I put it like this: I choose Kalisto, and let's go out of the luchas for a minute. I choose Kalisto over a whole bunch of other people they got dead now.
Yeah, well, I'll ask you this again. If the deal was right, the timing was right, would you welcome Kalisto to Boston Wrestling in the MWL?
I welcome Kalisto in a heartbeat.
All right, well, let's continue down the list. A man that I believe was on the Rob Gronkowski Friends and Family plan, Mojo Raleigh was released from WWE.
Yeah, but are you surprised about that?
No.
I mean,
to be quite honest, I can't think of one memorable match that Mojo Raleigh really had in his entire tenure in WWE. Maybe he wasn't.
I mean, if he survived this batch of releases, that would shock me. I'm shocked he survived the last batch, or not even a batch of releases, just him coming to TV and them telling him, Mojo, this is your last day.
Well, look at
what was he doing?
Last year when they released 30 individuals in April, look at who the 24/7 champion was. His best buddy, Rob Gronkowski. Would you risk upsetting Rob Gronkowski?
Well, first of all, when are they going to get rid of that stupid situation? And when is R-Truth going with it?
You want R-Truth gone?
Oh, please, 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 please.
You're not a fan.
This is the WWE. This is not a carnival. It certainly ain't no loony bin.
All right.
And it's certainly, you ain't doing nothing. You ain't doing nothing but making a man look crazy.
They do make him look foolish. You're right about that.
And R-Truth, I'm going to be honest with you. Unless you go and have them turn your character around to something serious and something worthwhile, as soon as they get finished laughing at you, and that time is going to come soon, that's going to be it for you, because that's all they doing.
Well, I believe he's a little long in the tooth as well. I believe he's a lot closer to 50 than he is 40. I think he's an entertaining guy. I think if WWE created a show that was aimed towards like elementary school kids, I think R-Truth would be great. As far as those that are a little older than elementary school aged, I think they could probably do without R-Truth.
Well, that's another prediction of mine of somebody who's not going to come out of 2021 unscathed.
All right, well, we're hearing it on Monday Night Mission with Oscar and Marty. Two more before we go, though, Oscar. Wesley Blake, a year ago, it seemed like he was in a good position. The Forgotten Sons, with this little faction put together, kind of a right-wing type faction, and then Jackson Riker, who right now is aligned with Elias, put together an anti-PC tweet that many took the wrong way. And now the only member of the three Forgotten Sons left is the guy that wrote the tweet, Jackson Riker, as Wesley Blake was given his walking papers.
Okay, he goes in that pile with Chelsea Green. I don't even know who that is.
All right, well, so you're not losing too much sleep over Wesley because you don't remember who he is. Fair enough.
I'm not ashamed to admit it, neither.
Well, what does it say about WWE Creative that you don't know who he is?
That's sad.
And last but not least, I saved this one last for a reason because it's another one that I have very strong feelings about. Bo Dallas was released this week.
Now, I'm of two schools of thought.
All right.
I thought that Bo Dallas, first off, I thought Bo Dallas, because of his lineage, was a great in-ring performer. I mean, I thought he was really, really, really good. And what was that slogan he had? Bo
Leave.
Yeah, Bo Leave. Yeah. I never did Bo Leave. I'm sorry. I just didn't. So that was a killer. But my good friend Mike Rotunda, that is his son, what they should have did, in my opinion, what would have worked, they should have had him as a younger brother to the Fiend Bray Wyatt in some kind of way. If they could have made that happen, then he would have had a real bright future. They didn't do that. I didn't believe, and I don't know if anybody in the WWE universe, I mean, you had some people did, I guess they had to.
Well,
After the Believe thing, then there was nowhere for him to go. You didn't make him the Fiend Jr., so I mean, it's not a matter of who can just get in the ring and wrestle. You got to have programs to put people in.
right. Well, I'm going to say this. I think if you attend the non-televised house show WWE live events, if you had a chance to see Bo Dallas in the ring, he was exceptional. He was crisp. He was very believable what he did in the ring. He had good personality. He was saddled with the Bo Leave nonsense, which anytime you give someone bad comedy like that, it's hard to overcome. Then he was put into that faction of four guys with Heath Slater and a couple of other undercard guys that were treated as comedy acts that would get the shit knocked out of them by even the mid-card talents that was usually relegated to the internet show, not even on Monday Night Raw. Then they came up with the incarnation of him and the son of the late, great Mr. Perfect, Curtis Axel. They put them together as the B team. B team, go, go, go. And they were kind of the Mrs. Flunkies. And they did have a tag team title run somewhere in there, but certainly not the best way to utilize the man's talents at that point. I think maybe Curtis Axel might have become injured at one point, and they just decided to do nothing with Bo. And my God, it's been a couple of years now. And just very, very sad. The grandson of the late, great Blackjack Mulligan, the son of Mike Rotundo, the nephew of Barry Windham, the brother of Bray Wyatt. And, you know, a guy, again, I don't even know if he's 30 or probably very early 30s, if that, never really given an opportunity to show what he can do in a company that has so many boring, repetitive matches, boring, repetitive interviews, feeling like you see the same guys 3-4 times a week. Why not try and give a chance to people that have never had the opportunity on that platform? I think it's a mistake. Your opinion?
He's one of the ones that, if any of the people that we've talked about today, and not soon, later rather than sooner, if anybody has a chance of coming back and being somebody, I believe it will be Bo Dallas. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I could see it.
Yeah.
But when he does come back, he's going to come back being an entity that is really, really, really going to make an impact.
Well, I know I would love to see him here in Boston Wrestling, MWF. If you said no, I would even try and overrule you with President Reese. I think he's a guy that has a lot to offer professional wrestling, whether it be WWE or any other promotion. It's just it's one of those times when you sit there as someone that enjoys wrestling, someone that's worked in wrestling as long as I have, and someone that owns WWE stock, and you say, what the hell are they doing? What are they thinking? Are there times when you need to trim the fat? Absolutely. Are there worthless bodies on that roster right now that could not contribute? Yes.
While you're overruling and bringing people in, let me remind you that when you bring people in, you better have a master plan, where you don't bring them in for bringing them in sake. You got to have a master plan of what you're going to do when they get here.
I got a master plan.
Okay, well, okay, do tell.
Well, we'll save that for off the podcast. We don't want people stealing our ideas, Oscar. Come on now.
All right. Yeah,
You know, we
all
got
right,
some
yeah.
good stuff in the works for our 20th anniversary coming up later in 2021. Hopefully, knock on wood, the great folks at Memorial Hall in Melrose, Massachusetts will allow more than 12% capacity, so we can actually have the event. But no, I think Bo Dallas, whether it be WWE, NXT, AEW, Impact, Ring of Honor, I think he would fit just about anywhere. He's just about the perfect size for any promotion. And just a shame because he showed, even with bad creative, he had a lot of personality. And as he showed when he was given the chance to work more than 3 or 4 minute matches off of television, he was very, very, very good inside the squared circle.
Okay, well, all right. Well, like I said, you know, as long as you got a plan, because I don't.
You wouldn't? Whoa, wait a minute. You wouldn't welcome Bo Dallas to Boston Wrestling?
I don't have a plan. I mean, like, I'm waiting to hear your plan. I mean, I get him here.
You wanted Andrade and Samoa Joe. What about Bo Dallas?
You get him here. You get him here, and then what? What does he do? What does he do when he gets here?
He gets in there and competes in the King of Sports professional wrestling. You got a spot for Kalisto. But not Bo. I'm surprised.
I definitely got a spot for Kalisto. Kalisto can get in here and kick ass. There's a lot of young talent that I could put with Kalisto that can beat they ain't gonna match him high flying, but they still will make him look good, and he'll make them look good, and those would be some great matches.
But you're not sold on Bo like I am. Interesting.
No, I'm not sold on Bo.
All right,
Bo. Because who gonna believe? I told you I didn't believe.
I think if you had a more focused, aggressive Bo Dallas, I think you got some money on your hands because he's excellent. My opinion.
Well, when you have the meeting, you see if he's more aggressive and focused, and then we'll go from there.
Do you think any of Reese's Pieces would be interested in him?
Reese's Pieces might. He's a good-looking kid.
Oh, Oscar, I tell you, we have a lot of fun on these shows. Well, you know what? We agreed on some of these releases. We disagreed. I kind of wanted to put this off to the last minute like we really are tonight, as it's almost 6 by the time we're taping this right now, and I've got to edit it to get it online for 7. But I had heard through the grapevine that these releases were coming on one of our talk shows. I don't remember who it was with. I alluded to the fact, I think it might have been before Christmas I first heard about this, and I believe there's going to be more to come on the NXT side. Before we go, any advice you could offer to some human beings right now who are probably hurting that, you know, the job they wanted their whole lives has been at least temporarily taken from them from the company they wanted to be in?
Yeah, I definitely can give them some advice. Don't be down on yourself by it. Look at the fact that you were there as a blessing, and every way you can, use that experience to your advantage. Use it to build. Don't go in no corner and cry because they don't want you no more. You were there. You got the history. You've done something that millions of people who want to get into this business cannot do or have not done. Use it.
All right, wrestling fans, you heard it from the man himself. Don't forget, every Monday night at 7 p.m. before Monday Night Raw goes live on the USA Network, it is the Monday Night Mission with Oscar and Marty, where men on a mission's Oscar choose the fat on the latest in the world of professional wrestling with yours truly. Granted, let's hope he gets back from Las Vegas in one piece, and we'll be back next Monday with a brand new episode, 7 p.m. Eastern. If you could, fans, don't forget, give the show a big thumbs up. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's absolutely free. And share the link across social media. Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, Facebook wrestling groups, wrestling websites. Let them know what we have going on here in Boston Wrestling, along with all of our great talk shows. The World Wrestling Federation was live at the Hartford Civic Center in Hartford, Connecticut, Saturday, April the 19th, 1986. In the opening contest, Jim Brunzell beat Hercules. Nikolai Volkov with the win over Lanny Poffo. Jake the Snake Roberts defeated S.D. Jones. B. Brian Blair victorious over Mr. X, who replaced Bob Orton. George the Animal Steele beat the Iron Sheik. Hillbilly Jim with the win over the Gladiator, who replaced Adrian Adonis. And in the main event, the WWF World Champion Hulk Hogan and Junkyard Dog defeated Hoss Funk and Bob Orton, who replaced Terry Funk. If you were in Hartford Live, share your memories in the comment section below. Use the link in the description box to help keep Wrestling Legends working in our eBay store and on our acclaimed Patreon streaming service, so we can bring you more interactive superstar shoot interviews to relive the good old days of professional wrestling. Check it out. Boston Wrestling Sports in the MWF explodes into a new year with professional wrestling content galore and need you to join our family. Every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. after our Monday Night Raw review, it's Wrestling Insiders at your house with WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas. Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. after NXT and AEW, join rotating legends on Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. after our NXT and Dynamite review, it's Marty Jannetty's No Holds Barred Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll journey on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Friday night after SmackDown, don't miss John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays. Plus, look for classic clips, history videos, bonus live episodes, pay-per-view watch-alongs, and more. For less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, get early ad-free access to our Wrestling Insider talk shows, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, and help keep Wrestling Legends working during the worst of times. Join our growing family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Expect the unexpected in 2021.